Hello everybody, I am Bill. This is my coworker Mario. We are both students of University of Gjirokastrës e We are both bachelors. Today we will be talking about how to be a responsible consumer of media. First of all, Mario, thank you for coming here, my friend.
You're welcome.
Now, I would like to know how you think people should be more responsible in their consumption of media.
To give a more prescription of what I think about media in general is that if you really don't understand what they are talking about or what media it's all about, and how to protect yourself from being misinformed from media, the easiest thing to do is just turn off your phone or turn off your TV and don't even listen to it. That's what I would really, the simplest, more straightaway solution is to that one. But if you cannot avoid it, if you really have to get socialized through your Instagram or Facebook or whatever there is, or if you really want to listen to the TV, then you should keep in mind that you should not take anything that you hear for granted or anything that you read for granted. But still, my straightaway solution is don't bother with it.
Okay, I understand. That's a fair point. Honestly, I would argue that people should take everything with just a grain of salt. Don't believe it blindly. But I'd argue that at this point of this day and age, social media, you encounter it in ways you can't even imagine, just by accident or willingly. In my opinion, I believe there is a correlation between how you go about it towards encountering the media and how you go about it in your life. What I'm trying to say is that I believe the way we consume media is the way we consume everyday information. In my opinion, I think that if we want to be a responsible consumer of media, I think we need to be a responsible person to begin with. Because the way I see it is that if we are psychologically assured of what we want and what we know, then I believe that whatever the media quote unquote throws at us, we will always take it with a grain of salt. Because in this day and age, I think it's a problem that people don't really, let's say, understand or have the basis of critical thinking. It's of the saying of which when you hear something, you accidentally think it's inherently true, but you don't do any research. And I think that's the problem, because if you don't like what somebody's saying, or if you have doubts about it, then you choose to see it in your own perspective. I mean, there are plenty cases you can take which are two-sided, like the Mr. Beast controversies, in my opinion, because a lot of people were on one side, people were on another side. In my opinion, I was just in the middle, I'd say, because I think everything is a duality. I think of it in a duality type, in which you have a point and in which you don't have much of a point. I do agree with you, however, but my thing is that it's more of an extreme measure. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but to me, I don't think that you have a midpoint about an information of being true or wrong. Either it is true or it isn't, and you cannot. It's not. Then you're talking about opinions now. It's as media, it's a bunch of opinions being spoken out. I think that today we had an accident. That's not how it works. You didn't have an accident, or you didn't have an accident. Now, do you really take that for granted? I don't know. Like, depends on what is, how important the media is. Like, a weather forecast. That's a different type of media that you can think of it, and it can be wrong all the time, and it's never questioned. Or if it is the news about the celebrity, you really should know that most of those are just spicy topics that. It doesn't really touch you, it doesn't really harm people, but besides other celebrities.
I understand.
Exceptional cases where there are things that we should not speak of.
I understand.
But the approach to mostly what we see as problematic is the social media thing. Now, the social media thing sometimes gets most of the blame for many other things that happen because of social problems. But to what I see, it used to be a very good way to promote products, for marketing, for stuff. But now it's just there for distracting people from what they should be doing. Like, for example, I just opened my phone today. I spent 2 hours on it for no reason. I could have done 200 other things that I have to do. But yeah, there's that.
That's what I mean when I said the correlation, because usually when you spend a lot of time on your phone, or just in general an unhealthy amount of time on a certain topic, then I believe this has to do with your psychology, because it's an obsession. It's a different thing to say you surf through social media for like, let's say, a certain amount of time and then you just let it go. But if you pick up social media and then you just lose time not understanding how it goes, or if you have and this is the best way I can put it, an obsession with social media, which I think is where this case comes in, then I think that's where you're most correct. Because in my opinion, I believe your way of just absolutely getting rid of social media is when you have an obsession with it. Because in my opinion, I believe that if you have something that takes up most of your life, but it's not something that helps you or encourages you, it's something that drags you down, which I believe this is what social media addiction does to a person, then I believe that yes, you should highly get rid of social media. Of course, step by step, because it's not something that can happen in an instant, but I believe it's more of an extreme, in my opinion, extreme solution to an extreme problem. That's why I believe when it comes to this problem, you have more of a nuance. I have more of a nuanced approach, because it really depends. You say, okay, I have a problem with consuming social media. I say, to what degree? Because you have, I believe mindlessly, I spend hours and hours on it. I use it as my daily news of information on a site that usually is not that correct. And this is what I mean, what I wanted to align it with. You said about weather reports being, sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not. I believe something very important here is reliability. How much can I trust, or how much I can rely on your information, on your opinion, that it can actually help me improve? One of the biggest problems I believe in social media is that when they preach a certain topic, they hand out opinions like they are facts. I'll just give you a simple what's the word I'm looking for here? Example. So let's say I say, in my opinion, I believe, I'll say something very stupid here, okay? The earth is flat, right? I have an opinion here. I'm introducing it as an opinion with just basis of perception. However, when I say the earth is flat and no one can tell me otherwise, I am giving an opinion in a factual matter. So I am not telling you that this is my opinion, I'm telling you that this is a fact. However, in reality, it's just my opinion. So I think it really depends on how you preach it and how you go about it in a certain sense. Because I believe people, in order to have more of a nuanced opinion, because we are humans, we don't think the same. We have different opinions.
Well, there is a solution. Like, I'm just going to take the same topic that you opened,
yes.
The ridiculous one.
It's
very simple. Don't take the opinion of somebody who is not qualified for it or has no degree about it. You can take an opinion of a geographer, geologist, historian.
Yes.
Like, all these guys can tell you that where you're doing the mistake, or just give you more information, and you'll find out yourself that you were wrong. Any other part, specifically, if you didn't know anything about engineering or get music in general, let's say, you go to a musician, you go to an engineer, to some guy that is an expert of its field. Not just ask some random guy on the internet. Probably he's saying about 200 topics that are not even his own thing. Even before social media was a thing, there were other people who just have nothing to do with philosophy, and they would state out sentences and look like they were philosophical facts.
I remember there was actually a big meme back in the day about a general known as Sun Tzu. He's a Chinese general, dictator more like, but anyways. And there was a meme where they would quote his quotes continuously. I remember there was one where he said, "I don't know why people keep consistently quoting me," and then it would say written by Sun Tzu, which I thought was actually kind of funny, because I'm like, do you guys know what he did, or am I the only one being delusional here?
That looks like the story Andrew Tate to me. It's
yeah,
that's
let's
like
not.
Everybody who's in the podcast, they do not know why that guy was in jail for in the beginning. It's like
Yes,
that's the paradox of the people who watch it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, because a lot of these people, through, let's say, baseless opinions usually, because if we go to your example of Andrew Tate, you can argue. I believe you can argue about it depending on what topics you're exactly discussing about that dude. But anyways, my thing is that this is a problem of critical thinking, because if you listen to him and what he said, you would be like 50-50 divided on him, because his views are, honestly, I'll say they are very insane.
Okay, come on now, if you just it's fun in a way, but look, there's a saying in Japanese about a specific gun from World War I that had a lot of spread, and they call it close your eyes and shoot and you may hit something. That's the same thing with this guy. He's just gonna keep talking, and maybe he's gonna say something nice or something that you might agree on, and
Yes,
then
exactly.
you're caught, you're into that web, you're listening to him, the algorithm takes you in.
That's the problem, because this is about critical thinking. Because if we think about what he's saying and what we believe in, that's how we choose our stance on him. If we support him, if we are against him, if we are just neutral. In the case of not just him, but any person in general of his sphere, the thing is that because of the way he says it, and because people mindlessly choose to believe him, they create a big following, a certain cult following. This is what relies on being responsible, because this is a big case of them not being responsible, because they are choosing to believe a mindless opinion and
I
take
don't
it
know.
as fact.
Do you think that they are really influencing people's lives like that?
Excuse me?
Are they influencing people's lives like that?
Influencing in what way exactly?
Like making change in life just because you follow him or you don't. It's like, to my opinion, is you follow him or not, it's irrelevant. It's what you either do with your life.
I'd go in about 50-50, because it really depends why you're following him.
If they influence 50% of the people that they actually speak to, they're ridiculously successful, huh? But
Well, I doubt, because look, for him to have a following, he has to have an influence, because that's how it happens.
I don't see the following as an influence. Like the first thing that you're gonna notice if you turn off your phone, like I've done that for 6 months, for once, just because, and you really forget these people.
Yes.
Like they do not exist.
Relevant.
It's like paganist religion. Where are those? Like that's the same thing with these guys. Where is if you turn off the phone, how are you gonna hear about him? It's not important enough for you to hear it.
I think, in my opinion, you don't exactly follow people because of how famous they are or why they are, let's say, heard of. It's more, how do they resonate with you? I'll give you an opinion. I'll give you an example of mine. When I was in my first year of high school, I was a big fan of him. Can you believe that? Yeah, I actually was a big fan of him. But why I was a fan of him, you might ask. First of all, it has nothing to do with the female gender. I would like to put that out there. The problem is that he talked to me about problems guys face into society, and I, as a male, did not felt out of place. So the way he, quote unquote, talked to me was that he kind of gave me motivation to want to be better. Not in the way he wants to be better. I'm not following that.
Hitler
but
doing the same thing, tell the German people to be better. That's the same thing.
Let's not go there. But the thing is, I'm just saying that I'm not saying I support the dude. I'm saying a certain part of what he said resonated with me in a way that helped me.
He can have he can always say right sentences or things that give you I don't know, like the idea that he's right, but you should see where he's wrong. And when you see that, you are not going to take for granted anything else.
Yeah, that's the thing, exactly. That's why I'm saying about the duality thing, that, okay, he told me this, but this is from one side of the coin. What about the other side? And that's how it really comes to the end, because I don't think things are white and black. I think they are all shades of gray. So I always believe that everything that's positive has a negative, and everything that's negative has a positive. But it really depends on how big they are, because it really depends on their weight, which impacts me greater. Always, and I want to quote this, always take everything with a grain of salt, okay? So I'm saying that I want to be better, right? How do I be better? That's a big question, because one example, you can say like going to the gym, but going to the gym doesn't help with everything. It helps, but there are other things you want to do.
Oh, that's one of the things,
Because the big philosophy of mine is that every day you can be better than how you were yesterday. In the end of the day, really depends on how we approach the media, in how we as people are prepared, let's say psychologically to let's say face the media. Because if I'm gonna be honest, I don't believe the media harms you physically, it impacts you mentally, and everything our body does, everything our body functions is through the brain. So if the brain gets impacted, there's like a big blow to the whole body. There is an Albanian saying that says the tongue has no bones but it can break bones, which really shows the power of words, the impact they can have on other people, which really goes to show how we should approach problems. If I may go back to Andrew Tate for just a second here, something that I noticed that seemed wrong to me was that a lot of problems were like, how can I explain this? People were being constantly attacked in the sense of you support him, you are this. But the problem is, okay, you say this about me, but you're not helping me, you are hurting me more. And because I was hurt, I went to him for advice. Do you understand? In that case, I don't support it. What I support though is when people would take these guys who were big fans of him and they would ask him, why do you support him? What does he say that makes you resonate with him, makes you think that, oh, he has a point?
I think we're a bit off the rails with this discussion because first of all, we don't really have any problem with people supporting anybody.
No.
It's just people who are fans of him, maybe they just like his music or something.
Yeah, I never have problems with what people support.
There is a thing about like posts in general. There are some pages that they are a bit more disturbing, that they have no face of somebody. Like Andrew Tate, he's a physical person, you can talk to him, debate with him and everything. But there are some face, like for example, that's something that have happened here also. Posts for pro-communist period posts. You have them always in post-communist nation all the time, that they say, like Albania in the 1980s had the dictator used to say this and that. And,
I understand.
And you know what's the funny thing? I'm pretty sure 90% of people who liked those posts did it as a joke.
That is
and
true.
The other 90% that didn't like the post, that saw it, had that many likes, said, what's going on? People are liking his post, taking it like it's a serious approval of or a mandate or a vote.
That is true.
That's not a political follow. It's not a political vote. It's not.
Yes.
You don't empower somebody with a follow. Or with a like. It's so irrelevant to the big real world. So to me, they say, you know what? You can say anything in those platforms. Just don't believe anything on that platform, and it's just for jokes. It's just for fun.
Yes,
that's how I see it. Like people are there just to create funny scenes, to make people have a bit of a laugh. On the other hand, they are making problems for people who take it seriously.
Yes, that is something that is true. How you exactly take things as, if you take everything as a joke, or you take certain, let's say, sensitive topics as a joke, that is the difference. Because what about the people that don't?
Any topic can become a joke.
Exactly.
If you ask a comedian, any topic can become a joke.
I believe that.
But you cannot say anything in the...
It depends who you tell the joke to. It depends who you tell that joke to, because not everybody takes it as a joke, which is a very important thing.
Okay, come on. If we're going to do that, if we're not going to speak about any this topic because it's sensitive, or that topic because it's sensitive, or don't say this joke because it's not funny. You know what? We're going to do dead jokes.
That makes sense.
So it's the joke thing, on my Instagram, usually I spend more time listening to comedians. Mm-hmm. Why? Because comedians sometimes, we have an Albanian saying that says, a joke is half the truth. Mm. Like an article is completely a lie.
Yes, that's true.
The joke is half the truth. You get more information from comedians than you'd get from anybody else.
Yes, I agree with it.
But always listen when they get serious, because that's another thing, because people cut things here and there, like what do you think about this guy, and they say a joke about it, but still it's a joke. It's not to be meant seriously, but people just get this ideology, and you know what, they go in the street talking like that, like they forget, switch it off, people, inside here is different, outside world is different. Yes. You have to go with the manners.
I agree.
So it's, and other things, like for example, they want to talk about they get influenced by the Instagram or by, I don't know, TikTok, what's new now, and they think that whatever they listen there is taken for granted. Like you can do this or you can do that to avoid the cab, to avoid the ticket, or to how to talk to people in the street to make a funny scene. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You should do that you should consider the law or the consequences behind.
Good.
So the not serious part thing in this whole topic about the media thing is Instagram,
Yes.
And I'm okay with anything that is in the phone or any app that social app that is, I don't know how many there are nowadays, are ridiculous a lot.
Yes,
and
that's a lot.
You can do that there. My problem is TV. Like TV, it's supposed to be that way that you get the news. What happened today? What should we do today? Like I remember, for example, that they used to tell us about crisis or, for example, earthquakes. For example, and we used to listen to that and say like, what happened to these people? We wanted the real thing to learn. We could not travel or to ask these people, but there would be a journalist there taking information.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of the time, you have politics. You have I don't know why is it in the news, because politics is not a big news. It's old news. Politics is always politics.
I will agree with you. I actually forgot how much of a big impact or a big role of media the news plays. And I don't know how that slipped my mind. That is actually one of the biggest reasons why I correlate it with human psychology, because it's a well-known fact of how selective news are in articles they portray, which is a big problem in my opinion. No matter how you see it, I think this is a problem. This is where people need to be the most responsible at, because yes, the news are technically speaking the most trusted source in media, but my problem is that people sometimes forget they are very selective and they willingly choose to ignore information in certain articles just so they can paint the true picture. I remember there was a certain video I saw about how a man didn't do something good. The thing is that they made it seem like the guy was the villain, like he was just evil with what he did. What they didn't add is that there are certain elements that make it more of a gray picture and not just black and white. That's just my opinion though.
We come up to the conclusion. All of this media thing now have become a tool for people to bend the truth.
Yes, I
and
agree.
You have to see between the lines. If you're never going to be served the truth, you can just, don't take it seriously, the easiest one, or the radical one, don't even listen to it, turn off the TV, turn off the cell phone, don't turn it off, you can call people and stuff, but...
I understand what you mean.
That's not a good source of information.
I just think take everything with a grain of salt, and no matter what, have your opinion. Don't base it off of other people. Have your own opinion.
Okay, I hope that we were... I don't know, understandable enough?
Yes, I agree. No, I really think that you have a very nice view on it, and I would like to thank you for sharing that with me.
It was my pleasure.
My pleasure as well. Thank you, my friend.
So,